Because they all got it. I didn't say that.
He's not recording yet.
Not yet.
We are on YouTube now.
Oh, we are
Okay,
on-
I'll shut up
Yeah.
now.
Did you see that video of that lawyer in Texas was on a
With the
Zoom
kitty?
call with the cat?
That was good.
I'm not a cat.
I'm not sure that's impressive to the judge.
Get to do that your own technology.
Yeah.
Hello, Tina.
No.
Oh, you're so thoughtful.
You're welcome.
I'll swap you.
That goes that way.
Oh.
That goes too. Just Lois and Rick's not gonna be here.
Here's for you, Lois.
Yeah, I know, that's why.
Lois.
That's bad. I think I gave away my pen.
Oh, here's a pen. Wait, this one hasn't been touched.
My
I prefer that. There you go. See, we both touched this one.
Smart, very smart. We've got hand sanitizer down here if you need it.
Thought you'd have little ones in
Oh, we
each.
should, yeah, that's a good idea.
Little ones with the Gila monster.
Gila Monster hand sanitizer.
Yes. That's a good one.
It's like the lip ice, the thing that Kate gives out,
Oh, yes, right, yes, absolutely.
the giant.
I think that clock is slow, by the way.
We have 1 minute.
Yep.
According to my device. Left.
Just the one, oh, there's the other book.
Time. All right. Call this meeting to order, the governing board meeting of the Eastern Arizona College. I want to excuse Rick. He was feeling a little under the weather today, so we will begin by having our pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call to the public. There is none. We have the board minutes from our regular meeting held January 14th. Would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we accept the minutes as printed.
I'll second that.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. College financial reports and vouchers. Vice President Welker.
Chairman Larson, members of the board, the financials through December 31 are presented for your review and approval. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
like to make a motion that we receive the financial reports and accept the vouchers as presented.
I second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Vice Chairman. Our reports, the Greeley County Advisory Committee, Dean McBride.
Chairman Larson, members of the board, appreciate the opportunity to report on Greeley County. It's exciting to see that
Bill?
Greeley County's, especially in Clifton and Morenci, that the enrollment
We
is
still
at its
can't hear
highest.
you, Bill.
Can you hear me?
Craig's trying to fix the problem.
Yeah, it doesn't appear to be on this end.
Oh, it appears it's on your end.
It's not on Phil's end. We can hear him.
No,
Can you guys hear me?
maybe our sound system.
Is the sound on?
Now we've got Gene Lawhorn.
So you cannot hear me at all?
Yep,
Now we
yeah,
can.
we can.
All right, sounds like it's been fixed. So Chairman Larson, members of the board, Clifton Morenci enrollment is at the highest level it's been in the last 6 years, which is exciting. Duncan's down quite a bit, so our overall enrollment is slightly down. But it's been great to work with Joe Garcia at Morenci High School to get more dual enrollment students. And I think that's where we've seen the biggest difference. So appreciate the opportunity to work with Greeley County. There's some great people up there and great opportunities. Be happy to answer any questions.
None.
No questions. Thank you, Dean McBride.
I love his reports. His reports are excellent.
The Gila Community College District, Senior Dean Lawhorn.
Good afternoon, Chairman Larson, member of the board. I have been to Payson multiple times. I did not get to go when they had 3 snow days in Payson, which was awesome. I canceled my trip for that. We're looking at some additional programs. I went and visited Payson High School as well as the RTC in Globe. We're looking at different programs, trying to figure out what the best way we can do to grow enrollment. Enrollment is significantly down on both the Payson and Globe campuses. Payson, most of it is because of the art, personal interest activities, HPE, yogas, things like that, that have been for the community for so many years. A lot of dual enrollment down in Globe right now, but we are working at trying to build some of that back. I don't have anything else in addition to the report that I presented. I'll be happy to entertain any questions you might have.
No questions. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
The EA Foundation Alumni Association, Executive Director Udall.
Thank you, Chairman Larson, members of the board. Working with the college, we've shifted the scholarship due date, and the priority deadline was moved up to December 31st of last year for students who are looking to enroll next fall. And we've had a number of those scholarships recipients selected. The Alumni Association Committee met on January 22nd, and then the next week I met with the United Ways Selection Committee, and we've selected about 100 students, and we've probably got about 30 more that'll be selected by faculty committees. And we're excited to see things go forward with new scholarships, and hopefully I'll have some other cool news in the following months as some other donors who are looking at starting new scholarships as well. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
No questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we're going to have a special report on our legislative update by Gibson McKay, our lobbyist.
Am I off mute now? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Ah, good. Good. Most people refrain from trying to hear me, so that's good. Quick report, and happy to answer any questions. This year is a little different in the sense that we are dealing with kind of this COVID type situation. Luckily, Keith and I are in communication each day. But in some committees, they'll allow you to come testify. In some committees, they won't. There's no kind of uniform situation as it relates to the bills, and how some members want you to come in and meet with them, and while others want to do it over Zoom. We're trying to adapt. It's not always an easy kind of transition. I'm sure you guys are also trying to adapt. So, but I will say there is legislation proposed. Last year, or last session, which was last January, about 1,500 bills died. I say they died of COVID because they just closed the session and just didn't have any bills. The most predominant bill being the one that I think this board is focusing on is the 4-year baccalaureate degree bill. It is back before the legislature, House Bill 2523 being sponsored by Representative Nutt, but also the Speaker of the House, the Majority Leader Ben Toma. We have good relationships there, and it is moving. It just passed out of the House Education Committee. Ms. Udall is the chairman of that committee. She was very supportive. Passed out 9-0 to 1 abstention for conflict reasons unrelated to us. But that is happening. We are negotiating. I think the universities are kind of in this position where, I'll try to say this as diplomatically as I can. They're in a position where they don't really like this bill. They see this as kind of competition to their efforts. The fact that EAC is involved in this bill, we really make a very good point about serving our communities, allowing students that might seek a 4-year degree to stay at home. Many times these are families and they can't leave the community to go. And then when they do leave, they oftentimes don't come back. And so this really is about supporting the idea of educating your workforce and your students there in the community so they can stay in the community. It was, I was happy to see that it was so supported and so well received. And the fact that we have the Speaker of the House as a sponsor is kind of how Keith and I like. It makes the bill a lot easier to pass when the Speaker is your sponsor, one of your co-sponsors. So certainly happy to talk with you about anything else. I know this board has focused on this issue, and we are pursuing it, and it is looking good right now. And very widely supported on both sides of the aisle, both Republicans and Democrats. In fact, one of the co-sponsors is a Democrat, so happy to see that. They're somewhat getting along. You never know. That's. I'm happy to answer any other questions. One of the. I'll just say this, and then if you have other questions, let me leave it at that and say the only real issue that we have been dealing with is this marijuana initiative that passed in November, funds a certain amount, $30 million or so to all the community colleges. I have to communicate to many members that we weren't behind that. We'll accept the revenue for sure, but we had nothing to do with it. But it's interesting because I get asked that quite a bit. And I note that for you because oftentimes when you receive revenue from outside sources or different things, and you guys will probably understand this as a governing board, you know, they short you in other places. And so I know that within the initiative, there was a kind of a hold harmless clause, but that doesn't mean they don't look at it. So I'll leave that at that. But I have gotten a lot of questions about it. But again, not us. We didn't do it. Happy to receive the revenue. Obviously, you know, it wasn't us. With that, I'm happy to answer any other questions. I enjoy working with President Haney and of course Keith Alexander. You know, I have relationships that Keith doesn't have. He has some relationships that I don't have. We work really well together, and I feel like, and I'll leave it at that. Any questions?
Does the governor support the 4-year bill?
The governor is one of the most interesting governors I've dealt with in 20 years at the legislature. He rarely tips his hand on much. I would say that if it came out of the House and the Senate with as broad a support as we're seeing, and that doesn't mean we're not going to run into a few hiccups. The universities are kind of working behind the scenes. But I think he would be supportive and has acknowledged it to a certain degree. I would say that the governor also understands that the universities are, you know, receive $1 billion in revenue from the state of Arizona, and so he is also a regent on the Board of Regents, and so he tends to have a more a sympathetic view to universities when they get before him, but I wouldn't say he's opposed to us, no.
Has ATRA shown any signs of where their support's going to be?
Did you say I apologize. Did you say ATRA?
Yes.
Mr. Chair, members, ATRA has, they have taken a position in the past. They haven't on this one. We've spelled out in the bill pretty distinctly that there's no authorizing language to increase property taxes per se. That doesn't mean that we won't come back at some point in time and look at that. But ATRA, because of that, ATRA's remained silent on this. They have opposed it in the past, but this year they're not as active, I would say.
Yes, in the past, I know ATRA and University of Phoenix both were strong opponents against us doing the 4-year.
Yes. Yes, and ATRA really, Mr. Chair, members, they in the past they have done that and really have focused on the taxation component to it. They're very active when that happens. So not this year.
Question. Well, thank you. We appreciate you joining us and giving us this report. Thank you.
Well, thank you for having me, and I appreciate everything that you all do. I've mentioned this in the past before the board. My father is alumni from. He was a Gila Monster and played quarterback. So I have a fondness and a soft spot in my heart for Eastern Arizona College for sure.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye now.
Okay, new business, Vice President Welker on the budget.
Larson, members of the board, you'll find some preliminary budget information. There's no action that needs to be taken, but just some preliminary numbers to review, along with the budget schedule that was approved several months ago, and just some preliminary comparisons about what we're looking at for this coming fiscal year compared to last year. We've still got a lot of things out there that we're not quite clear on. As Gibson McKay just mentioned, the Prop 207, we don't know where that funding is going to land. So it's hard to budget for revenues where you have no idea how much or when they'll be coming in. And we also will be receiving and have received some additional CRISA funding, which is more HERF funding from the feds that goes along with the CARES Act. And we know that's going to be substantial. It looks like we'll have about 2 years to spend that. But again, it's kind of up in the air what the requirements and qualifications are for those funds. So it makes it really interesting to plan a budget when you're getting significant monies like that. But this is our kind of preliminary shot at what that looks like. For now, we're showing a slight decrease, but it may increase depending on what we think we can use those funds for.
Heston, do you think that getting this new money from the marijuana bill is going to hurt our equalization allotment?
It's not supposed to, as Gibson McKay referenced, affect it at all. I think what his concern is that will it hurt us in areas where we ask for it in addition to, and they'll point back and possibly say, you guys just got all this other money. So it's not supposed to affect the appropriation. It's not supposed to supplant anything we're receiving currently. But it will be interesting to see what happens when we go and ask for additional funds.
But
For
the
example,
attitude's going to
through,
be,
workforce development or even additional STEM, and they may just go back and say, well, you guys already received this additional funding, so we're not going to give you more. So that's the dark side of that additional funding. At least from the funding side. Maybe I don't know about the dark side as far as the effects of what's going to happen.
the money's going to look great, but it's the implication or
Yeah.
the fallout that could
Yeah,
happen
the price
because of
you
it.
pay for legalizing something like that, so. I think the tuition schedule is showing in this as well, but I can address that in this next bullet point because it has some more details there. But I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have. It's, like I said, it's pretty preliminary and high level, just prepping you for what's going to be coming down the pipe in the next few months and for the ultimate budget approval and for our TNT that'll be coming up in May.
You know, and I'm happy I saw in the budget, which I've always questioned in the past, and I'm happy to see that now this semester cost is going to be the same both fall and spring. I think that's a great way to do it. I've always, and I know they say because of the football, but I never could see where that should make that kind of a difference.
I agree with you, Chairman Moody. It's been a long time coming, so I think we'll be able to simplify it.
Oh, yeah,
Not only
so
for our
much better.
students, but for our fiscal office and everyone else who's involved. It makes for a hard explanation of why there's different rates and different semesters.
No, I'm so happy to see that that's been changed.
And of course, this is still just a proposal, preliminary, and even the food service as well, because as you know, we've taken that in-house. And we don't know if meal plans are going to be the best things moving forward as opposed to a declining balance or maybe some combination of the two. But for now, this is what we're rolling with. But we may even come with a different recommendation even next month. But for now, this is kind of what we're looking at. So, and if there's no questions, well, I guess Chairman Marshall, I'll let you move on to the next one. But this tuition discussion really has to do with more with this. So if there's budget questions, just let me know. There's not a lot of detail here again, and we'll be providing that in the next few months.
You can roll into the next.
All right. The next section is the preliminary tuition fee schedule, discussed it a little. You'll notice the other big change besides those in the dorms and meal plan are the dual enrollment structure. And these proposed rates have come about after meeting with committee, and Susan even knows more about this than I do because she was a member on those committees, but meeting with our dual enrollment partners and discussing some of the issues with the current tuition structure in dual enrollment and all the confusion that it creates. The proposal was to move it to $65 per credit hour with no cap. You can see that allows a student to take up to 21 credit hours for the same price that it would be for full-time, but anything less than that, they get for cheaper at a discount than they would have before. So you get rid of some of the kind of unique calculations from the 1 to 6, and it just goes to $65 per credit per step. Easy to calculate, much like the dorm schedule is now, and very straightforward. No matter what way we were going to cut it, somebody was going to be paying more, but someone was also going to be paying less. So this just seemed like the very most fair way to just apply it equally across all credits. Everyone seems to be really happy with it. I'm sure there will still be a few parents maybe who think, well, I'm paying more than I would have, but overall, it's just a much more fair way to apply the rates. So, Susan, do you have any additions to that? I think the committee did a really thorough job and included a lot of different employees from different areas in student services and some faculty, and then of course the high schools that are partners with us. Sure. Again, still just a proposal, no action needs to be taken. We'll have that officially for you next month for you to approve. And then our recommendation is to keep regular tuition the same without raising it. There is I've attached the tuition across the state at the other CCs, and we're at about the average, as is our goal, depending on what level you looked at. So.
All right, Chairman Larson, members of the board, going back to the dual enrollment tuition schedule, I wanted to clarify something where it's called the dual enrollment tuition schedule, but it would apply, yet the intention is for it to apply to any high school student, not just those students that are taking dual enrollment classes. This is to make it easier, to make it more consistent and fair, and frankly, to make it easier for us as we try to figure out who this applies to and who it doesn't. And as Vice President Welker indicated, that it really does simplify that discount for everyone, not just the college, which it does, but also for parents. And this is an effort to make it easier for them.
And might I make one more comment?
Yes.
It also, we want to encourage students to come here during the summer, should they choose. And so this will also include any high school student who wants to take classes between their junior and senior year, and from the time they graduate until the time they become that summer before they become college students. So it will also act as a way to support families who want to have their students take some classes.
Only between junior and senior year, not before
Junior,
that.
senior, and then also
Senior and
yeah,
freshman.
But not sophomore to junior.
not sophomore. That's what the committee that works on this is called the Public School Task Force. And students can do that. We just didn't mention that, board member, so I can take that back to the committee.
It would seem like the rate should be the same. You know, it's-
Dr. Woods, I was under the impression that the law for quite some time now that, as Dr. Montero just mentioned, the student between their sophomore and junior year was also taking classes here at EAC.
But I believe they were paying regular tuition then, is that right?
They must have. I just
Yeah,
know
they-
that
they
some of the
were.
schools, yes.
They were. And this really, the intention is to simplify it, so
Sure.
it's not this confusion about.
So a high school student should have that rate whenever.
Any high school student.
Yeah.
can.
But I think we also should include any students between sophomore and junior that wants to come here.
Sure.
Yes, I think
Thank you
that's
for that.
I don't think we should, eliminate, because I know in the past, that's where a lot of kids were able to get all the credits they needed to graduate by May.
And let me take that back to the task force. I don't think there'll be issues.
Any questions for Vice President Welch?
On the
Tuition?
tuition, where do we stand among the other community colleges? Again, I assume we're about in the middle.
Yep, so if you go to the total tuition assessed form, that will show you per credit where we're at. I think the line, the 6 credit and the 15 credit are highlighted. So if you go to the 15 credit line, and the very last column shows the average. So we're at 1350 at 15 credits, the average is at 1340. So slightly above, but then if you go to 18, because once you have, if you're in a program like a nursing program, the credits are higher, and or they have significant fees. And so in general, while it looks like we might be higher than average at the lower end, the truth is we don't have a lot of those fees, and our tuition is the same regardless of the program you're in. So overall, I would say we're definitely at that average. And so I think we're in a good place to be without, again, having to raise tuition at this time.
Good. Any other questions? All right. You're still up, considering Valley Telecom's request?
Yes, so our recommendation is for the board to make a resolution to grant an easement for Valley Telecom Group. If you look at the picture, you'll see this is a very thin strip of land on the west side of Stadium Avenue that we still happen to own. We've even discussed maybe even transferring ownership of this town so that we don't have to maintain it on our books. Obviously, there's nothing we can really do with this other than the fact that we own it and can grant or not grant easements. But because this benefits the town and our community members, we are making the recommendation that the board grant this easement to Valley Telecom to increase our internet connection capabilities. And I believe, do we have Shane Thompson, is he on the line with us? And he
Yeah,
can,
I'm online.
great, he can answer any further questions you might have, or maybe Shane, you can just explain to us.
Yeah, any questions you guys might have, yeah, feel free to ask. But currently what we're looking at right now is we have a large project in the works of building the entire town of Thatcher and upgrading with fiber to the home to everybody there, which I know is a very sought after prize right now. But as we were doing this project and we're starting to look and do our research on the right of ways and stuff through the town of Thatcher, we realized that, you know, just like you explained, that part of Stadium Avenue was still owned by the college. So we want to bring that to your guys' attention to see what we needed to do for easement, or what you guys may, which I think is a smart idea, to potentially hand that over to the town, because since they maintain that road and all those other utilities they have in there also. But whatever you guys come up with, I appreciate your time and everything for this, but we're excited to bring in fiber optics to the whole town of Thatcher.
I make a motion that we request the easement to the Valley Telecom Group for them to upgrade, to bring in the fiber optics. Also on getting the property to the city of Thatcher, I talked with Todd yesterday. If we should decide to do that, I really think we should also ask them, in giving them that property, if they would not consider putting a sidewalk on that side of the street.
It is in the works already, actually, so.
Good, well, then we maybe, with giving them the land, maybe that'll give us the opportunity to get a sidewalk.
So that's not part of the motion.
Yeah.
No,
I'll
that's not-
second the
I'm
first part of that.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Dr.
That's
Monter.
okay. Just trying-
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any
I just
opposed?
wanted to be sure since that was
Motion
discussed.
carried. Thank you, Vice President Welch.
Yes, thank you.
So Heston, don't forget, we need a
All
sidewalk.
right, yes, I agree. I want sidewalks everywhere.
Vice President Wood. Consider courses and curricula.
Chairman Larson and members of the board, thank you so much for this opportunity to report on this. We've got a couple of new courses that are proposed. Phlebotomy for law enforcement, and then also an up-to-date, a refresher on that. And this comes along with a program that we are going to be offering to peace officers for some phlebotomy training. So those are the two new courses. A couple of course modifications. Dance 120 and Music 134, those modifications are to change the number of credits. In the first, it currently is on the books for 1 credit, and the proposal is to offer it 1 to 2 credits. Symphonic Choir 2 is on the books for 1 credit, and the proposal is to also offer it for a half a credit. New curriculum, I think this is an exciting one. A certificate of proficiency is being proposed. And this goes along with, you'll notice down in the curriculum requirements, Google IT Professional. So that's something that we've started here. We've got some fabulous faculty who have undertaken this, have learned it, and are teaching those classes. This is a workforce ready credential. Students can go right out into the workforce and get jobs with these skills. So that's the new curriculum, is that certificate of proficiency, 18 credits. And then the curriculum deletion, which is the last page, is to delete right now the Associate of Arts in Anthropology. The enrollment just decreased and decreased and decreased. So we no longer see that as a viable Associate of Arts. And I would entertain any questions on any of those proposals.
Autonomy for law enforcement, was that something that they asked for us to do for them?
Yes, they did. They reached out to Carolyn McCormies, our Director of Nursing, and she's been working with the Layton Camp, so a couple of different individuals. She's been working tirelessly to put together this program, and the first cohort could include as many as 15 peace officers.
Now, that's all the officers in Greene County, or is that?
Actually, it's there will be police officers from Maricopa County, and it could potentially grow. So it's not just Greene County.
Okay, so it include Greenlee and Cochise, all of them then.
I'm not sure which ones it includes. I know for sure it includes Maricopa, but I can find out the answer to that. They haven't enrolled yet, but the idea is that it could definitely expand. And the idea is then those police officers will be trained so that they can administer tests when they stop somebody and find out what the blood alcohol level is.
So the first course is the actual course. The second is a refresher. Keep them up to date, I guess.
That's right. And so the didactic portion will be offered virtually or online, and then the officers will come in for actual sticks, is what they call it, right, where they get their practice.
All right. Motion.
I move that we accept the changes in the courses and curriculum as outlined.
I second that.
Got a motion, a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Review administrative regulation, President Haney.
Chairman Larson, members of the board, presented for your review is an update to a regulation related to athletic code of conduct. We are modifying the content and title of it. This is to reflect current practice and to conform to the other student code of conduct policies and regulations that you approved last month. This is presented for your review. No action.
President Haney, in looking this over, what are we going to do regarding the legalization of marijuana? Is that any policy policies or regulations being considered regarding not only students, but faculty and staff?
Chairman Larson, members of the board, that marijuana is illegal on campus in every state. So
It is legal.
it is illegal.
Oh, illegal. Okay, thank you. I was gonna say, that was something new.
It is prohibited on campus.
Okay. And you have any way of knowing how to test for that or to know what needed to be done if someone is using it on campus?
That's a great question. Dr. Wood, do you have an answer to that?
I would, I mean, there have been those situations, and Heston, you might be able to talk to them, know that our security.
Are they
My
being
assumption
trained?
is They know how to do it. Is that right, Heston?
That's right. We have certified police officers on campus. They deal with that, have dealt with it, will continue to deal with it.
But are there going to be new training that they're going to have regarding?
Now, as President Haney mentioned, it's illegal on campus, gratefully, because of federal requirements. And so we will deal with it as we have in the past. It's illegal for them to have it here. Go ahead, Laurie.
Yeah, and with the new medical marijuana cards, even if a student has that, it's still not going to be allowed on campus, so they'll have to use it on campus or keep it on campus. They won't have it. So basically, our rules will still stay in effect with the marijuana on campus. You can't have it, but with the new law with medical cards, it'll still say we can give it back to you, but it must be on campus. And they're already, our officers are already knowledgeable about that. And we're working with the county attorney on our policy for searches. So, and right now, the preliminary feedback on that is that our policy is going to stay the same because we will still keep the same procedures.
Thank you.
Update on personnel, President Haynes. Chairman Larson, the members of the board, presented for your review is the updated personnel matrix. I would be happy to answer any questions that you have. As you can see that we are working through most of our open positions that have been open here at the college, and we're getting close to filling all of them.
All right, general information and discussion items. President Haney.
Thank you, Chairman Larson, members of the board. We've had, as you know, a very interesting academic year this year, and this month is no exception. Certainly, we continue on. We have our athletic season that has begun. Gratefully, we were not able to offer any athletic seasons in the fall, so all of our sports teams have been moved to the spring semester. And they are now most of them are in full swing. Tennis will begin next month. Golf and baseball will begin next week. But the rest of the sports teams have already begun their game play. With respect to COVID-19 and safety protocols, we've adjusted the number of spectators in the indoor arenas or indoor sports events, that we are allowing only 2 tickets or 2 spectators per athlete. That's a very limited number, as you know. Basically, the intent is to allow parents or guardians to come to those games. For outdoor games, we are not limiting the number of spectators, but we are enforcing social distancing by blocking off rows and requiring masks as well. So for those individuals that are not able to attend an athletic event, we are streaming every home game or home event and you can access that stream from our website, from the athletic website, eacmonsters.com. As you know, our commencement ceremony has been moved up by 1 week. It will now be May 7th. We are currently working to finalize plans for that event, and the proposal is that we will hold an in-person traditional type graduation ceremony. It will be held at the John Nicholson Field, where it traditionally has been held. However, we will limit the number of spectators. We will limit by giving each graduate a limited number of tickets. We haven't yet determined what that number will be, but likely will be a single digit, like 200 stands, and we will encourage social distancing by blocking off rows. The graduates on the ground, as well as those of us who are in the stand, the faculty and staff will also be spread out and socially distanced as well. That event will also be streamed live for those individuals that are not able to attend. We continue to offer COVID testing to our students and staff on a weekly basis. A limited number of tests will be available or are available through Canyonlands, and we're grateful to them for their support of this effort. We are also grateful to the County Health Department for offering the doses of the COVID-19 vaccine. As of last Friday, we've had just over 150 employees take advantage of those vaccinations. And I am one of those employees. I had a miserable weekend, but I'm grateful for the opportunity to take that vaccine, and now on solid surface, I'm vaccinated now. That's the information for this month. I'll be happy to answer the questions that you have.
I was just mentioning to the president, I passed the monster catering truck on my way into the meeting. So they're gearing up for catering business. Yeah.
Yes,
I
absolutely.
saw that same truck, Jim.
Yeah, looks nice.
Yeah, looks really nice. In fact, I was gonna mention to President Haney when I talked with him, because as I was coming down, the truck was pulling out. Done a great job of fixing it.
It looks wonderful, doesn't it? It'll be a driving billboard.
Definitely. I would like to report, I did receive a call from David Banosky, who's the director of the AACCG organization. The call went very well. I have to tell you, I was very impressed with him. He is anxious to get this organization up and running. He's going to implement training for trustees. He's going to try and get more and more trustees to attend the ACCG meeting. Also, he said that he had received a lot of information about the conference we held in Prescott last September, or a year ago last September. And he again wants to make sure that that's done annually, because he said he heard nothing but wonderful reviews about how great that was. Right now, the decision hasn't been made, but he's indicating that we'll probably meet every other month and could be meeting at the same week or the same time that the AC4 group meets. Some of the other things was he's anxious to get all the community colleges together so that they will stand united and work as a complete group in support of things, so that not working individually, but be stronger as a unity working together. He's hopeful that with communication and getting everybody on board to stand firm. So hopefully he's got high expectation of what he wants to accomplish. I hope he's going to be able, because I do know that when Rick used to serve as representative from our college to that group then was very strong in Spain, united in fighting for legislation for community colleges. So I'm very hopeful. He said he'd be back in touch in 2 weeks. One of the things we don't have right now is a complete set of bylaws. Those he's going to be sending out to each individual that is on this board, so that we can review them and start getting the bylaws in place. And that's just about as far as things have gone right now. He's working more, I think, with the 2 trustees out of the Pima area, Pima Community College, and Marie Chavoa, who's from Arizona Western, because of the position they held in the past with the group. But he sounds like he's really going to be a go-getter. So I think the group that reviewed and hired him did a great job of selecting.
Good. Well, thank you for serving there.
I think it's going to be exciting. Giovanni gets somebody that's really going to do something and move us forward.
Good.
That's all I have yet. And of course, he knows about Michael Racy and Dr. Bellini, and he's going to make sure that they will be involved in any presentations. And again, they do such a fantastic job. But thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity.
Anybody else? Just a reminder, our next board meeting will be Thursday, March 11th at 12 p.m. And we need executive session.
I move we go into executive session.
Second,
I'll second that.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right.
Play stats, it's got
And audio.
amazing.
Is that on?
Now streaming live.
We're good, right, Craig?
Good to
All
go.
right.
Okay, we direct the administration to follow the board's instruction as discussed in the executive session regarding sale of real property.
Is that a motion?
It is.
A motion.
A second.
All right. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye. I move that we end our meeting.
I'll
All in
second.
favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you.